Ratio is what everybody's been talking about. Even with the recent patches, everyone's keep talking about ratio and how to get a higher DPS. Isn't that what you all want? Use the ratio so we can get higher DPS, sir. But do you even know what to count the ratio, or even use something even better and much simpler? Today I'll show you how to use something better than the ratio, and it's easier to understand. First, we take this RG for example. We use the stats. The P-pen is 296 plus the final P-pen 147. And then our elements, I'm using neutral here just for example, 7 and 0.5. Then the final physical damage bonus is around 190. And we take up on the size. For this example, I use the medium to test on the vagabond, 42%. So these are the stats, and then we get more from the shadow of Earth drive, so it adds 7.5% in total. So we'll take a look at the testing on the damage for the vagabond. 130 vagabond, it's just a quick simple test, and you choose one skill. See, 99,871k. And I'll bring you up to the screen. So these are the current stats that I'm using right now. These are the damage of level 5 Earth drive. It sums up, I don't know how to count this. We'll use the calculator. 443. That's the percentage. That's the percentage. That's the percentage. If you're going by the ratio, isn't this quite good? Like 1 to 2 P-pen, 1 final PDMIC bonus to 2 P-pen. But that actually is not the case, because we haven't taken the defensive part of the enemies into account. And these are actually the data for the enemies. Example, we got the mini vagabond wolf. As count, the final physical damage reduction is 166. Let's put it up here, 166%. And then the PDEV, the total is 203. So how to count our clean stats? I'll show you. So we need to deduct these stats. My stats need to deduct from the vagabond defensive stats. So these are not really my actual stats, because we haven't deducted from the defensive part. So our real stats is something like this. 197.5% deducted by 166%, which is around 31.5%. And then this is the total P-pen. %, minus 3%, and that is around 240%. But this is also not the real P-pen. You need to take into account about double penetration. Yeah. So how to count the double penetration? Actually, the double... Well, have you guys ever heard about double pen? Like, the double pen is something like after you deduct your total P-pen from the enemy P-def, and then you need to take into account that your double P-pen only works 150% higher after it's deducted. The total P-pen is something like this. Some nut stuff, I don't know. That's why it's pretty hard. For crit taps is much simpler. Your crit damage bonus doesn't have the counterpart on the defensive. So if your crit damage bonus is like 500%, then it's just the 500%. But for the P-pen, you need to count your double P-pen to know your real P-pen. So we have 244%. We'll take the 150% away to know the double P-pen. So at this rate, I have 90% that will be double because the effect of double P-pen, which is 180%. And then we add back the 150% we took from the earlier, from this part. I'll take a highlight. Damn, how to highlight this? This one. So this is the one we took away and then we put it back here. So our real P-pen for the clean part is 330%. I'll take this yellowish thing away. So this is our total P-pen with the double pen included. And I'll slow down the music. So at the end of the day, these are our real stats after deducting from the enemies. I cannot see. I'll just use the underline. Okay. So this is what we're going to be based on. So if you're blindly using ratio, you will say like, oh, it's already on good ratio. No, it's actually not. So at this time, we'll use new stats. Let's say real stats. Something like this. And now there's no rocket science. There's no difficult calculations. After you've seen these real stats against Vagabond, you only need to you only need to see and compare which stats is the lowest. In this particular example, we'll have like 2 stats which is the lowest. However, the final epidemic bonus is more of the general stats. They are different from the size. Size is only specific in this rate is to medium, which is why you need to prioritize adding final epidemic bonus. Because these are apparently the lowest stats. So you don't need to use the ratio word anymore. You just need to compare and count your real stats against certain MVP and minis. If you need this data, you can drop by in the Ragnarok X University. Or you can use, but this is only to Vagabond, you can use the average MVP mini or average MVP. This is how you count your real stats, and then you compare. After you deduct it, you compare to the other stats, which is higher. If you already add the final PD make bonus, then you need to add the other stats. To gain higher DPS, you need to get more size or even more multiplier, maybe something like they make to raise some raise. Maybe it's currently 0%. You can add more, something like Coco card. More multipliers equals to higher DPS. But it is kind of a niche target because the more specific, the higher the DPS is. For example, damage to raise, you can use demon. Some people start to use Islut enchantment to demons, and some people start to use element enchantment like damage to shadow or something like Banshee card. So these are the example that you need to compare. So I'll generally add more stats to the general part, which are these three, and then you can get size. And to be more specific, you can add some damage to raise and damage to elements. So we'll try on the real part. What happens if I add more final P damage bonus? Here I have a stone shooter, and here I have a megalodon. I'll change one Kalitzberg, which equals to 0 in PvP, and then I'll put a stone shooter. And then we'll see the difference of the damage. $115.5 million. We'll put it into the node, and now we will try to switch out the stone shooter to the megalodon, because apparently if you use ratio, we need more elements. Putting in the other megalodons. We'll test on the vagabonds. $107. Shit. Well, wolf starts attacking. Aye. Let's do it one more time. The wolf starts attacking. 107.9. And now we go back to the notes. So these are what actually happens. If you use these stats, the one you get from the detail stats, not using the real stats, you'll think that, oh, I need more elements because I already have a higher final physical damage bonus. But in reality, if you add more elements, which makes your elements right 135 maybe. It's actually causing you to deal lower damage than adding one stone shooter, because this one is the stats you desperately need. 37.5%. This is the one you're going for. This is the one you need to prioritize just from this simple example. So I hope you understand by now which one you need to go for. And as I said, for crit type, you don't need to reduce or deduct with the enemy's defensive, because currently for the current update there are no crit damage reduction from the MVP or mini stats. And you can get this data from Ragnarok University. I'll put the Discord link down below on the description. Be sure to like if you like this kind of video. It's kind of a magic stuff. Well, it's actually not rocket science, so yeah. And comment down below if you think that something's wrong or you need to ask another question. Don't ask me for ratio anymore. Use comparison, which is better. See you on the next stream. Bye.